instead. Or as usual. Zenithal highlight. Did the base already, so I don't have it sunken down. Now we're going to start with the skin. There we go. After first color is down, somber gray on all of the exposed skin. Okay, so next up, we are going to do the non-metallic bit, specifically the armor and the arms. With that, we're going to use Vallejo Imperial Blue. Normally I use the game color, but my bottle of that is gone, so I'll be using the game air. It's the same color, just a bit smoother. So, yeah, like I said, we're going to hit mostly, we're going to get all of the non-metallic components. It'll be this color primarily. I'm not too fussed about trying to keep it off of places that I'm going to be repainting silver, because like I said, I can just repaint those. No big deal. We're going to hit that. I'm also going to hit panels on the legs here. Some on the arms. Okay, there we go. Now that we have all of the non-metallic armor bits painted up, we're going to switch over to doing the actual metallic portions of the model. For that, we're going to use our trusty lead belcher. So for these guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out some specific bits throughout to sort of help break up the monotony of the blue. So some of the raised portions on the jets here, like these panels. That's we're obviously also going to get the visor in front. Pick out a couple of spots on the rifle here, and a few more scattered throughout, again to just sort of break up all of the blue that's here. Okay, so with all of the metallics down, we're going to go ahead and move straight to the washes. There are some parts that are going to be bright green later on, but I'm not too worried about that because we're going to be going over that with white anyway. So for the washes, we're actually going to be using two of them. For the skin, we have Drakenhof Nightshade, and for the metallics and the armor together, Nuln Oil Gloss. So, we'll be right back after that step is complete. And here we are with our fully washed and dried model. You can see it a bit in the camera, but the gloss shade on the armor panels really gives it a nice shine, and sort of gives it a much more high-tech appearance than most stuff in Wild West Exodus. So you can also see that I left certain parts either gray or white. Those ones we're going to be coming back to at the end to add the green glow. So for now, though, now that everything's done, we're going to work on highlighting a bit. So we're going to start out with the skin. We're going to do one highlight of rust gray for the skin, and then a second finer highlight of Fenrisian gray, just to sort of help it pop out amongst the darker blues there. So we'll be back when that is done. Okay, so here we are after our first layer of highlights to the skin. You can see it brightened it up quite a bit, while still making a lot of the details pop with all of the shade sitting in the recesses. So now we're going to work on our second lighter highlight of Fenrisian Gray. This is going to focus mostly on the higher parts of the skin. And this one's going to be much fainter and much more subtle than the initial one. So see how it looks after we are back. Here we are with the second highlight done. It's not very prevalent on screen. You can see a bit of it with the legs there and some of it with the head. But in person, it definitely makes a big difference. So with that, we are now going to move on to highlighting the armor. For that, again, we're going to go with, well, actually for this one, we're going to go with just one color. And that's going to be Magic Blue from Vallejo. So we're going to be hitting mostly the top pieces of all of the dark blue armor. This is mostly going to be an edge highlight, although some specific panels will get full coverage with this. Oh, this mixed up. All right, we will be back. This step is done. Okay, so here we are with the highlights for the armor plates done. You can see you just mostly did an edge highlight. Now we're going to move on to doing the metallics. All right, so for that we're going to start out with an initial highlight of Ironbreaker. And then as a final edge highlight, Vallejo Game Air Silver. Now this one's going to be primarily an edge highlight just to make the metallic edges pop. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and get the Ironbreaker down, and we'll take a look when this one is done. All right, so there we go. We have the first metallic highlight down. You can see it definitely brightened things up, especially towards the tops of all the metallic surfaces. So just to give it a little extra pop, we're going to add a small edge highlight of Game Air Silver. I'm using the Game Air just because it's what I have at the moment. I kind of need to restock some of my paints. So if you have a different bright silver you would like to use, feel free. Okay, so we'll be back when this round of highlighting is done. Okay, and here we are with our final highlight on the metallic. You can see things are definitely popping, and I'm not sure if it comes across in the camera very well, but in real life, all of the high points that got the silver touch and highlight definitely stand out amongst the rest of the blues there. They definitely pop a great deal. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up by adding in all of the green glowing parts. And for this, you're going to need 3 colors. You're going to need a white, a very light green, and fluorescent yellow. So what we're going to do is start out by putting a coat of white down on all of the specific parts that we want to have the green alien glow. And from then we're going to make a almost like a glaze out of the light green and the fluorescent yellow to put on top of the white. So I will be back momentarily once I have all the white bits that I am doing on this model blocked off. Okay, so here you go. You can see we got a couple of the parts on the jetpack, including the bottom there. It's kind of hard to see, but I did get the inside of his visor. And a couple of points on the rifle. The big one there is going to be the backpack. Okay. So, what we're going to do next is, I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and mix these together. I'll be back in a moment with the consistency. And then we'll see how things look once the model is done. All right, and here we go. The Watcher Storm Myriad we've been painting here today is 98% complete. Really, the only thing that's left is just finishing up the basing. And if anyone's curious about the basing, this I started out with just a base coat of Mournfang Brown, and then added a thick layer of Martian Iron Earth to it, let it sit overnight to crackle. After that was done, washed the whole thing with Agrex Earthshade and gave it a dry brush with Luganoth Orange, or just a very light orange or peach, and you're set. So for the basing here, we're going to do one thing pretty simple. Just add a little bit more to the base. We're going to take a single bit of Mountain Tuft, glue it down with a tiny dab of super glue right onto the base, just like that. And that'll sit for a bit. There we go. And then I have one more little addition that I will be adding to my Watcher forces, my Watcher models, and any other one that has the Xenoshield special rule. This little guy right here. This is a 3D printed model for a science fiction energy type shield that I got from Deadly Print Studios, and I printed on my own Elegoo Mars printer. So this I'm going to go ahead and attach to the base of this guy here, and after that be able to show off the final model. So here we have the Grey Elite Lancer Myriad and Storm Myriad, fully assembled, painted, and ready to go, complete with resin 3D printed shields, just to definitely make them stand out and show, hey, these guys a bit more advanced than most things in Wild West Exodus. So these ones were really, really fun to paint. I do have a couple more units from that box to paint up for tutorials, including Jocasta herself. I also have a couple more models from the Soul Hunters that I'd like to record and get done, and plenty of other things coming in the new year, hopefully, assuming we're actually able to leave our houses at that point. All right, take care, everybody. A lot trickier than I thought. Once I can find out what my wife did with my glue, she ran off with it again. Because, of course, there we go, now they're centered. I'm going to try that again.